Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jake Silver Show. It's been about 10 days since the assassination of Charlie Kirk at UVU campus, and the conspiracy theories surrounding his death have circulated the internet on multiple platforms, and I've heard everything from he was shot by a drone, he was shot by someone to the crowd to the right of him, he was shot by someone in the building behind him. I mean, there's people who think Charlie Kirk is still alive in Tel Aviv. I wouldn't put it past them. But the conspiracies are endless, and we really do not know what in the world happened to Charlie Kirk, where he is, if he's still alive. Personally, I believe he unfortunately did get assassinated. I still have yet to come up with an exact conclusion. I mean, I've rewatched the video of his assassination multiple times, to the point to where I felt just uncomfortable. But what I do know is that Charlie Kirk was definitely not taken out by a 30-06 rifle, and there has to be multiple people involved in terms of taking him out. Now, whether there was another shooter is another discussion, but I do not believe he was shot with a 30-06 round, and I do think the angle of trajectory that the FBI is giving us is not where he was hit from. So, in order to put an end to everyone's worries, thank the Lord, good old Kash Patel came out and released a statement recently regarding the conspiracies that have been floating around on Charlie Kirk. FBI Director Kash Patel says agency investigating theories and questions surrounding Charlie Kirk's murder. In a social media post on X, Patel affirmed that he is committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive. We are examining every facet of this assassination, the official said before addressing some of the theories that have circulated in recent days. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Now, just in that piece of his statement alone just goes to show that either Patel is heavily on TikTok or Instagram, or he has people who work under him who are reporting to him with these alleged conspiracies surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. He pretty much touched on every single thing that the public is talking about currently. I mean, I don't know how chronically online you are, but like I said, there's people are just, they're not okay with the information that's been given to them. So naturally, there's going to be all types of conspiracies that come up regarding this assassination. I mean, it doesn't sit right with about 60 to 70, maybe even 80% of the public. I mean, the only people who are pretty much okay with whatever the FBI says are going to be people who are very strong in the MAGA supporting, and they just trust the structures of our government. Somehow they still do. And they trust the FBI, which is insane. I don't personally know anybody who trusts the FBI still or anything they say. I remember I was at work when I found out Charlie Kirk had been assassinated, and then I don't know the exact timeline. I'm not Candace Owens with the timeline, which I probably should be, but I'm not really an investigative journalist. I'm just a guy that likes to talk shit. So when I found out Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I mean, it had been about a few hours since he was murdered, and once I saw that the FBI was involved and that the guy was still on the loose, I was just like, damn, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Once I see the FBI is involved in a high profile case like this, I'm just like, nope. I don't want to hear anything that the FBI has to say on this assassination because you can't trust it. I mean, it's case closed for me at that point. It doesn't matter who you find. We're not going to get the truth. We're not going to get to the bottom of it. Only God knows the truth. Only the FBI knows the truth. But the truth is that there's multiple people that co-conspired together to take out the figurehead that is Charlie Kirk. And Kash Patel goes on. He adds that while some details are known today, law enforcement agencies are still pursuing others to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice, he added. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. He also added questions swirling about a plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing near Orem, Utah, where Kirk was shot. Now, that was interesting to me in Patel's statement because he had no details to give. All he did was address that he acknowledged the conspiracies floating around. But one big one that a lot of people had concerns over, he just goes out and says, oh yeah, we got this one. We figured out this issue with the plane that transponder stopped working. We solved the case of the plane that went black within an hour of Kirk getting assassinated. We got that figured out, so don't worry. He says, we can share updates about the plane when answers are confirmed, Patel said. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the gap. Now, I looked up this private jet just to make sure before I said this. Now, I have no idea what type of transponder was on the plane, but I do know that this was considered a modern aircraft. And modern aircrafts equipped with transponders tend to not lose signal because they utilize GPS satellite, and they also utilize other planes and other ATC towers in order to coordinate their position at all times. The only transponders that are vulnerable to losing contact with ground observation are ones that are dated or in older model aircrafts. And that's where your transponders tend to go in the dark and they don't know where a plane is. Like, this private jet that left was a modern aircraft with modern technology in its transponder, and there's no way in hell that the fact that it went into a rural, apparently it only went on a 30-minute flight. So you're telling me it lost connection because of rural areas, it being a private jet made at least within the past 10 to 12 years. This isn't an older aircraft. This is a aircraft that is equipped with a transponder that does utilize things, like I said, with GPS satellites. So whoever was on that plane definitely got out clean. And I could tell you that whoever was on that plane definitely had something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. And it is coming out. There are rumors swirling online that plane was actually owned by Bill Ackman, the person who had the sit-down talk with Charlie Kirk, even though it was supposed to be a nice cordial meeting in the Hamptons. But we all know now that it was pretty much a shakedown, sort of a threatening interrogation meeting with Charlie Kirk telling him, hey, you need to change your stance on Israel. So if that private jet does belong to Bill Ackman, I definitely don't believe Patel's statement of a rural area causing this apparent gap in the flight data. I don't buy it for 1 second. So that's that. That's just one part of the conspiracies that Kash Patel attempted to address. It's just funny that he's so sure about that one. Don't worry about the private jet, guys. There was nobody on it. Charlie Kirk's memorial was Sunday. He had his memorial service on Sunday at the State Farm Arena in Arizona. Everyone was there except for Candace Owens. She's been snubbed. But I didn't watch the memorial service. I should have, but I was busy all day. But I did watch moments from people who spoke at Charlie Kirk's memorial service. And a few things stood out to me about it. I mean, I could be, look. I'm just speaking on how things make me feel. I'm speaking on what my discernment tells me. And the vibes were just off coming from a handful of speakers, and some that I'll mention. For starters, RFK Jr., I mean, his whole analogy with Charlie Kirk and Jesus Christ was just, first of all, it's blasphemous. I don't want to hear anybody comparing Charlie Kirk's death to the death of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because they one is God and one is Charlie Kirk. So let's just stop that, Christian conservatives. Let's stop associating the untimely murder of Charlie Kirk with the torture and murder of Jesus Christ, who died for our sins. Can we please stop with the blasphemy? And it's coming from mostly Christians. So I really do not appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of Christians don't as well. And it really rubs me the wrong way, especially when politicians are using these comparisons during a highly televised memorial service. So let's just nip that in the bud and call it a day. Charlie Kirk in no way, shape, or form has his life and death cannot even hold a fucking candle up to what our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was and has done for us. So stop the analogies, stop the metaphorical dialogue of Charlie Kirk, Jesus Christ. Please stop. It looks stupid. It looks stupid to real, genuine Christians who put God before politics. And it even looks dumb to the atheists out there because they're like, oh my goodness, oh my God. Look, they're comparing Charlie Kirk to Jesus Christ. Yes, I see where they're coming from. So just stop it. It's real ugly, okay? It's real ugly, guys. Another person who spoke at the memorial service that I had the opportunity to see a little bit of. Again, I didn't watch the whole thing. Donald Trump Jr. He tried to, again, I know it's not a funeral service. I guess it's more open to loose dialogue and maybe some quips, little couple punchlines and a few one-liners here and there. But Don Jr., it was just like he did an impersonation of his own father talking about his tweets, and it's just like, it's like, dude, this is supposed to be about one single man, and some of the things he had brought up had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, and seemed like he was just trying to be funny, boost his own ego in front of a large crowd, and it gave the whole memorial service kind of gave off, with the exception of some moments in certain people's speeches, maybe some of Erica Kirk's, but it just gave off like a big MAGA rally. Like, it was more about the continuation of Turning Point USA and the portrayal of a certain theme or message that they really wanted to get off to the supporters in the crowd and people watching at home. And it struck me in a very dark way. It just didn't give off a memorial service. Let's talk about Charlie's life. Let's talk about, how he made us feel, everything that he had done for Turning Point at that point, and him founding it over a decade ago. I think he was 18 years old. It was just more about rebranding and funneling people's attention towards the future of Turning Point USA and the Trump administration's involvement with it. They're like a cohesive, unified thing now. It's like openly known now, at least on the right. Now it's a thing that the Trump administration and the MAGA movement and Turning Point USA are locked in. So it seemed like a rally. It didn't seem like anyone was truly mourning, including Erica Trump, and I'll touch on that in a second. But Stephen Miller, my God. Oh, we all know, if you don't know, Stephen Miller is a Jew. And Stephen Miller, to me, is like Donald Trump's Heinrich Himmler. He's the evil man behind the scenes, pulling the strings, and he's just that little devil on Trump's shoulder that's constantly there to remind him of who owns him and what direction that this country truly needs to head into. I mean, Stephen Miller, there's no life behind those eyes. Go and just watch Stephen Miller's speech at Charlie Kirk's memorial. It was just Stephen Miller truly is either not human or he was raised in the coldest of households. He was slid food from under a door that was cold and lacked nutritional value. He probably didn't get a lot of sunlight. Stephen Miller just reeks evil. And that's just my discernment. I don't have a lot of evidence on Stephen Miller other than I know he's a Jew. But Stephen Miller just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know who else feels that way. There's nobody close to me that I could talk to about Stephen Miller. He's not really in the public that much. That's why I say he's Heinrich Himmler. He's the puppet master pulling the strings. I know who he reports to. Let's say that. But go watch Stephen Miller's speech at Kirk's Memorial Service. Please do that. Stephen Miller laces into our enemies at Charlie Kirk Memorial Service. You are envy. You are hatred. You are nothing. Top Trump aide Stephen Miller gave a fiery speech at conservative activist Charlie Kirk's memorial service, where he put the enemies of the MAGA movement on notice. Tens of thousands of mourners filled the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, to hear Miller, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump Jr. speak in the run-up to President Donald Trump's address. This is a quote from Stephen Miller. This got a couple pieces of Stephen Miller's speech, but he goes on to say, "Our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion, our lineage." It's given white supremacy vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. Though it's not cool. Our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion, our lineage, and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello, Miller said. Our ancestors built these cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Miller added, to our enemies, you have nothing to give. You have nothing to offer. You have nothing to share but bitterness. We have beauty. We have light. We have goodness. We have determination. We have vision. We have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now. Wow. Our passion, our lineage. We have light. You have nothing to give. I mean, he might as well just... I mean, he just went in. He just straight up let the cat out of the bag. He's like, us white people built this entire country, okay? Anyone who's not white has not contributed a damn thing to the success of this country. I mean, whoo! He's a wild boy. Stephen Miller's a wild boy. It's not like immigrants. It's not like immigrants didn't have anything to do with this country. It's not like all of us have the blood of immigrants in our DNA. It's not like we owe everything that we are to our ancestors who did relocate to America and help build this country up. I mean, even the founding fathers are technically immigrants from other countries. So this whole narrative, like it's a very threatening tone that Stephen Miller's created here. And it's very divisive speech. And it's really setting a premise that really makes the person listening who's already in support of the administration, it really gets them riled up. It makes them feel like, it gives them a little bit of an adrenaline boost. They're just like, ooh, I can get behind that. Yeah, you know what? Fuck that. The left killed Charlie Kirk. He's inciting and enticing the MAGA movement and people on the right who are uninformed, really trying to kindle a larger event comparable to a civil war, or exactly that. They are really trying to use a polarizing figure like Charlie Kirk, take his death, and perpetuate a civil war. Don't fall for it. This is a low-hanging fruit for them. And who are they to say no? Use your discernment. Use your better judgment. Research. Pray on things. Don't take anything that these people say at face value. I'm encouraging you to just take a step back from this. Don't just watch the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service and just be like, I'm all in. It's for our lineage. From Athens to Rome. Like, crazy talk at a memorial service. I hope it doesn't come to a civil war, but I do know the power of media and the propaganda that it presents, and it's on both sides. It always has been. And I hope people can stay level-headed in their day-to-day decisions and the way they process the news that the media feeds down their throat. Just stay Christ-centered and stay focused on building your family up for success. And these politicians will not save you when Rome is burning. They will not. They will quickly leave you in the dust. They will make sure the buildings that you're in crumble and fall directly on top of you and your children. They don't care if you starve. If you are not in the club, they are not concerned of your fate. So don't let these people get you all excited, and don't let them usher the next generation into a divisive state, into a divisive mindset in our schools and our social gatherings. And don't let them emotionally manipulate you to think that just because someone doesn't agree with your political views, that you can't be friends. So remember what this country's all about. And the rhetoric that Stephen Miller is portraying at a memorial service is just absolutely disgusting. It's vile. It's low. It's very low. But like I said, he is a Jew. So I'm not really surprised. They love to capitalize on things like this, and especially if they carried out this assassination, of course they're going to capitalize it. And if Charlie Kirk didn't accept Bill Ackman's $150 million, pretty sure Erica Kirk would. So, but she's the new CEO. She's the new queen of Turning Point USA. But I did want to talk about Erica Kirk and take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not a professional. I don't get to dedicate tens on tens of hours to going down these rabbit holes and fact checking and liberating myself of the stress that, am I right about this? Is this right? So allegedly, this is all allegedly, but Erica Kirk, man, I don't know about you guys, but Erica Kirk really bothers me. She really rubs me the wrong way, for lack of better words. She, ever since Charlie Kirk has, of course, ever since he's gone away, she's been placed into the spotlight a lot more. And frankly, I was not a close follower of Turning Point USA. I've never really seen any of Erica Kirk's speeches, but ever since he passed and I saw that speech she gave from Charlie Kirk's studio, I didn't buy it for 1 second. I just don't know what I don't know what it's like to lose. I don't know what it's like for your partner to get murdered. I don't know. I've never experienced that, but I do know grief, and I do know loss. And the way that she even spoke from Charlie Kirk's studio for the Charlie Kirk show, it just gave off like disingenuine acting, of course scripted, but I couldn't even buy the tears that she was selling. And some people are saying the speech was AI generated, which I wouldn't even put that out the window. It seemed weird. I mean, her eyes looked crazy in a few moments in it, and some of the lip syncing was a little off, and it very much so could have been an AI video. But let's go off of the basis that it wasn't. It just gave off like she was trying hard. It seemed like she was trying to seem sad, as opposed to just being sad and feeling hurt. And the inflections in her voice were crazy, But everyone grieves in a different way. So I didn't take that speech from Charlie Kirk's studio, and run to the hills with it. I was just like, all right, whatever. That was weird and creepy. But I watched most of her speech at Charlie Kirk's Memorial Service, and it gave me the same exact thing. And she's quoting scripture, and she's just like, that man, that young man, I forgive him, which is a beautiful thing. Forgiveness is beautiful. It's more so for yourself than anyone else, but I think it's great that she would forgive him, but it just watch it. It just doesn't come off. Am I just a dick? Am I an asshole? I just don't buy the shit that she's selling. It just doesn't come off as real. It seems fake, and I'm usually good with discernment and sniffing out the bullshit and reading between the lines and seeing when people are lying to me. I have been fooled before, but Erica Kirk is not fooling me. And it's not only just her speeches. I do have things to back it up. And again, allegedly, but I've just, over the past 48 hours, I've gone down the beginning. If a rabbit hole goes all the way down, I've gone I've poked my head into the rabbit hole of Erica Kirk. And there's a few things, and none of these oust her. I mean, they could, but I'm not saying any of these things oust her and make her an accomplice in her husband's murder. I'm not saying that she's paid off by the Mossad. I'm not saying she's the Charlie Kirk's handler. I'm not saying she was paid off by Israel to get her husband killed and coordinated the attack with the federal law agencies of America, or Donald Trump knew that Charlie Kirk was going to get assassinated. This is not what I'm saying. But Charlie Kirk, allegedly, I haven't verified any of this, so just hear me out. You can verify it. I didn't have time to. Charlie Kirk met Erica in Israel in 2018, I believe. And what I'm hearing is that Trump's people introduced Erica to Charlie Kirk. And I'm not sure if they were introduced in Israel in 2018, but they were in Israel, not together. They just happened to be both in Israel at the same time in 2018. But I'm pretty sure that's where Trump had his people introduce her to Charlie Kirk. And the rest is history. But Erica Kirk, already a multimillionaire before she married Charlie Kirk, so she wouldn't get him killed for money. She would have a much deeper and a more motivated reason to get her husband assassinated. I definitely don't believe she loved him, but maybe had love for him. Like I said, these are my opinions. Everything that I'm saying is alleged. But just a couple side notes. 2012, Erica Kirk wins Miss America in Arizona, which was owned by Donald Trump at the time because he owned Miss Universe, subsequently owning Miss America pageants all across the country. No big deal, right? But my point being is that Erica Kirk has always been in the vicinity of the Trump world. So, and not to mention that this is unrelated, but Charlie Kirk's father, I believe, was a well-known architect for Donald Trump prior to him becoming president. I believe he may have had something to do with the building of Trump Tower. Doesn't matter. But just to let you know, these people are all, it's not like Charlie Kirk just sprung out of the cracks in the sidewalk. They knew about Charlie when he was born. But anyway, the craziest part of the rabbit hole that I had heard about was that Erica Kirk ran a ministry in Romania called the Romanian Angels that worked alongside the United States military for adopting children. And the local law enforcement in Romania and citizens of Romania, it started going around that allegedly the Romanian Angels was being accused of child trafficking. Children were being sent to Israel, other parts of the UK, and even to the United States. Children were going missing, and locals and law enforcement were concerned. Again, the Romanian Angels were working alongside the U.S. military. And no investigation opened in terms of the allegations with child trafficking. And they eventually packed things up and they moved on out of Romania. And I believe that was, I think she had shut things down in the maybe 2016, 2018 or something like that. But it just makes me think about when her foundation is getting accused of child trafficking and they just quietly pack up and leave Romania and there's no investigation that formally was opened on them or no charges brought. When I think about things like that or allegations like that, and then I think about Charlie Kirk discussing the Epstein files and then coming back to, because he went from wanting them open and disclosed to, oh no, I'm done talking about Epstein, to him saying that they should be opened and unsealed, uncensored, and released to the public. And I don't think he was going to let that go. I think his wife knew that. And I think a decision had to be made on some level in the chain of command. So if the conspiracy of Erica Kirk being Charlie Kirk's handler had any merit, I mean, she would definitely have a reason to get him taken out. I mean, not only is it Erica Kirk at that point involved with the Epstein files, the list goes on. We know Trump is on there for a fact. We just don't know the details of his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. But the releasing of those Epstein files would definitely bring these dark things that have, it would definitely bring the dark things that have happened to light. And I don't know. It's just something to think about. That's how I see it. It's just something to think about. Again, I'm a piece of shit. She's a grieving woman. I'm just telling you how she makes me feel and the little rabbit hole of Erica Kirk that I went down recently, because the worst people in the world hurt children. And I'm going to examine all of that information down the road. I don't, if I hear about anything with adults hurting children, my ears perk up. And I think it would be a great reason for her to have her husband taken out, even if she did love him. I mean, it's money and power at the end of the day. But yeah, that's that. Do we like Erica Kirk? I don't know. I've watched a lot of Candace Owens stuff coming out, and she seems like a big supporter of Erica, and I mean, she loves her. I mean, I just don't know who to trust at this point. Now, Russia shifts from talk to action, targeting NATO homeland amid fears of global war. So all the while, all of this stuff's happening with Charlie Kirk, you know things are happening in the background. If it isn't Israel, it's Russia, and things are going down. I mean, all the while this stuff's happening, the memorial service, FBI investigating conspiracies and whatnot. I mean, we're literally on the brink of a world war with the issue with Russia and Ukraine. I don't know if any of you know that. I don't know if anybody really has time to focus on that right now, but the Department of War is putting pedal to the metal, and they're doing exactly what they renamed themselves to be, and they are the Department of War for sure. NATO has been on high alert since Russia invaded Ukraine more than 3.5 years ago, but a recent spike in the alliance's airspace violations has security experts increasingly concerned that warnings of war with Moscow are no longer theoretical but inevitable. President Donald Trump on Thursday said the U.S. could end up in World War III over Russia's war in Ukraine and conceded that Russian President Vladimir Putin has let him down over his refusal to end his military campaign. One day later, Russia sent 3 fighter jets over Estonia's capital city of Tallinn, and in a direct and clear violation of its airspace, prompting another NATO member to spark Article 4 for the second time in as many weeks. This is what's going down while everyone's concerned about Charlie Kirk. This is what's going down while everyone's concerned about the ballroom. This is what's going down while Trump's talking about invading Memphis. I mean, there's obviously bigger fish to fry. We can't do any of the frying in terms of a World War III. We'll have to fight in it. But these are the things that we should really be focusing on. I mean, you change your name to the Department of War, that's a pretty good precursor to there being an actual war, especially on the scale of a global war, a global conflict, including a non-NATO country like Russia and a neighboring country of Ukraine that would bring us into a global conflict easily. China would absolutely be involved with Russia, and it doesn't seem like I can't personally say there. I for sure feel like there's going to be a World War III, but if there was going to be a time, I mean, now is the time for sure. Lithuanian Defense Minister Dovilė Sakalienė told Fox News Digital Russia is testing NATO again. Dozens of drones in Poland last week, drones in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and now fighter jets in Estonian skies. These are deliberate provocations. They are deliberate tests of our readiness, our resolve, and of the limits of our deterrence. Sakalienė said the Friday violation was just the latest in an escalating pattern of pressure by Russia. For Estonia, for Poland, for Lithuania, for all of NATO's eastern flank, this is a direct threat, not just to territorial integrity, but to citizen safety, she added. The Lithuanian defense minister warned that the biggest line of defense NATO holds right now, apart from its actual military readiness, is showing a united front to dissuade Moscow from taking direct action against a NATO member and prompting what could become a global war. She says, our biggest risk currently is miscalculation by Russia. Does Russia believe that NATO will not allow violations of its territory? Does Russia believe that Europe is going to strike back together with the United States? Yeah, I mean, I could tell you one thing that I feel. If there were to be, or if there is going to be a global conflict in a World War III involving Russia and China, with other NATO countries essentially being forced to be involved with the agreement that is the NATO treaty. But I mean, I do think that Trump and Putin would definitely be in on it. I don't believe the narrative that Donald Trump consistently tries to portray, that he's angry with Putin. Putin better shape up. Putin better get his ducks in a row. I don't believe Trump whenever he talks like that about Putin. I really don't. I believe Putin is a very cold, calculated, straight to the point person. He wants to put Russia first, and he wants to consistently do what's best for what he believes is best for Russia. And I think Trump tries to just play along as this guy, as this president who's just so American that hates Russia. And I think he kind of plays into Putin's hand. And I think he, at the end of the day, would not be against something like a world war. Because again, like I've said before in previous episodes, I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump to get us involved in a large scale conflict like a global war in order to negate any potential presidential elections. So look out for it. Look out for it. Just know that when there's a circus in front of you, there's a meeting behind it happening, and it determines the fate of you and your family and the well-being of your neighbors and your country that you know and love. So stay prayed up. That's all I can say. Christ is King. Well, thank you for tuning in this week. I really appreciate it. Please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next week.